Alright. Hello and welcome to League of Vloggers. Tonight is episode 35. Tonight we've got Heather back.
Yay!
It was a long 2 weeks without her.
Yeah, it was.
Other than that, we got Kurtis James over there.
I was like, did you forget who I am?
Sorry, I heard something in the background. I was like, somebody's ready to break in.
Nice.
And then Stormy, obviously. Heather. Myself, Viking Redbeard, aka Chase. Sorry, my brain isn't like... I don't have a real reason for my brain to be like mush, but it feels like it.
Just the usual reasons.
Yeah, basically. I mean, this is the first time I've left my apartment in like 3 days, so
Yeah.
Snowpocalypse was real. / I just really took advantage of not going into the office.
Yeah, that is more accurate.
Yeah, it was nice doing work from home all week and like having no one like gripe about me. Not
my
being in
office
the
closed down at noon yesterday.
Nice.
It was closed until 10 a.m. today. But of course, the crap part about that, like, asking my manager, I'm like, so are we expected to come in after 10? And it's like, yeah. I'm like, stupid.
Dang it.
Like, honestly, when everybody's going to start there, either people just didn't work, at home at all, and then only put in, like, a 5-hour day, or it's like, all right, I guess longer than 5 hours, because you're coming at 10. But it's like, or you start from home, you have to stop in the middle of the day, you're come in, and then I'm still going to, like, leave early, which is what I did.
You didn't have a lunch, did you? Is that what it was?
No, I took my fucking lunch.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right.
I'm not going to travel
But did
on
you
my
eat?
lunch. That's not the way the law works.
But did you eat?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just hungry. Okay.
I had like a backlog of like frozen food in my
Same.
freezer, so I was just like, all right, well, I've got food in here that's been in here for like 3 months. I might as well get to it finally. So.
I love the Snowpocalypse, guys. It was awesome.
Yeah, unfortunately, I probably have to go back to the office tomorrow. But
Yeah. I think you'll be out of excuses by then.
yeah.
Alright.
That being said, we can get into matches.
Yeah.
We got 4 sets of 5 that we
Best of
watched.
fives, yeah.
Best of fives, it went to 4 for each one.
Yeah,
True story.
No sweeps, which was mostly expected, but a little strange.
There's one sweep I think we all thought would happen and didn't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, otherwise, like, good matches. Nothing went to 5 games either. Like, but I think a lot of them were fairly close. It just happened that one team did have just that edge that carried them throughout.
Yep.
So I guess, should we just take them in order?
Yep.
Sure.
So the quarterfinals kicked off with Griffin, the number 1 seed from Group A, versus IG, the number 2 seed from Group D. And Griffin, being the number 2 seed from LCK, IG being the number 3 seed from LPL, but are defending world champions. Yeah. It was going to be an interesting match, and I don't think it disappointed in that facet.
No.
Well, it disappointed my pick'ems.
Yeah.
Disappointed them
did.
very much. Griffin
That disappointed mine as well.
Griffin looked so good coming into these matches, and IG looked so. Like, I'm starting to feel like either IG was holding back, or Griffin just kind of, like, buckled under pressure. Like, Griffin won 1 game, the game that they did win. It looked pretty convincing, but the other 3 games, they basically just got pooped on. I think there was 1 game where it was kind of, like, back and forth for a little while, but there was at least 1 straight. They got crushed. 1 basically got crushed. 1 they won, and then 1 where it was back and forth until they ultimately lost.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the matches, from my perspective anyway, were like Griffin was doing very well, and then they were kind of unable to do anything with their lead or their pressure, and they went to force a fight at some point, and IG just crushed them in the fight. And for me, the big difference between IG in the group stage and in this quarterfinal were Rookie and the Shy.
Yeah.
Like, while they looked okay in play-ins, Rookie looked like he did as a world champion last year, and the Shy looked the way people expect him to be at Worlds. Like, I don't think he performed at that level last year. He was good last year, but I don't think he was that level last year. But the way he does domestically, where he just goes, this is my lane, suck on it. And granted, I think he had an advantage of playing into Sword, and definitely showed the difference, especially Game 4, where Sword basically did not play the game ever. Like, Shy was on Kale, I think, in Game 4. He was at bottom turret, in hip turret, and he landed a Q, walked forward, fucking killed him, and walked out without even using his ult.
He just walked in.
He was like, oh, I landed a Q, you slow. And he did, auto, E for the reset auto, auto, and the guy was dead, and he just fucked off and walked away. And it's just like, you just fucking what? He was just like, no, This is anything within 500 units of me is a death zone. Fuck off, Sword.
I have
Yeah.
that written down too, so I completely agree with you that
Oh.
Griffin threw leads. They had a lead in some
Yeah.
of their games, and they just didn't know what to do with it. They'd force a fight. There was one at Baron, especially, where they had like a few kills up, a few thousand gold, and IG just played the fight so much better. And
Yeah.
came out on top.
Their team fighting was vastly superior to Griffin's.
Yeah.
I'm scared for whoever has to go against IG next. Like, I mean, I'm sure I know if I just
Complex
scroll
games.
down a little bit.
Yeah, FPX.
But yeah, those team fights, like, it looked like there were so many that they were gonna lose, and somehow walked away with like 2 to 3 people with like this much health. I'm like, the
Yeah.
hell just happened there? Like, I caught one of the casters was like, oh, I thought he died like 5 seconds ago.
Yep.
Still here.
Yeah, Rookie and the Shy were so good. Like,
Yeah.
I think for me that was the whole difference. Is just you had these 2 solo laners who destroyed every team fight and took the leads that they got in the team fight back to solo lanes and actually, split pushed or got picks, and they made something of it rather than just like continuing into team fights. Like, granted, they always showed up with TPs and roaming back to team fights when necessary, but they took that pressure somewhere that forced Griffin to send 2 people to deal with them.
Yeah.
Or if it was the one-on-one, they just killed the person and then continued to shove that lead and allowed, the rest of the team to then shove the lead too. So it was just,
It looks
So-
like a different IG almost.
Oh, yeah.
But the last, because you were talking about it through play-ins, and they didn't look that good. Their last game against TL, I will say, looked like IG of World Championship status. They dominated Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Like, they just completely crushed them. And then
Yeah,
if you go based on only that game, you're like, yeah, of course IG might win this. Like, it's
but then you
Griffin
go on
won
like their
theirs.
loss to Damwon.
Yes, and
both
it
their
was
losses.
it was hard to kind of gauge where they would be going into this semifinals, or sorry, quarterfinals.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it's interesting.
But, yeah,
I think Griffin had looked good in
their group.
their group, and I think I mentioned this a little bit off air. Like, I think a little bit might have been G2 underperforming in group a bit,
Mhm.
because we'll get to how they played. But I do think a little bit's kind of what Tiger Claw said in the chat, like that they do struggle under pressure, and I think that really presented itself in Sword. Like, Sword is not the caliber of player that the Shy is. In the group stage, he managed to get away with looking pretty good in some games, but I mean, we even saw Licorice and Wonder in group stage really mess him up most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, there's some times where, like, Sword did some good stuff and looked pretty good, but for the most part, he was underperforming in the group, even in a group that was kind of underperforming, honestly. Like, G2 should have been better, and I think Cloud9 should have been better, too. Like, not best necessarily better than Griffin, but just better than they played.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, when he went up against the Shy, and the Shy actually was playing up to his potential, he didn't stand a chance in hell.
So I don't recall if it was Rookie or the Shy, but one of them hadn't played in his world skin up until like
Oh,
this
really?
this match. He
Ah.
said that he didn't feel comfortable playing in it because he didn't think he was as good as what.
You are thinking of fucking.
Not Rookie of the Shy?
It's not Rookie or the
Oh,
Shy.
goddamn
It's
it.
Jackie Love?
it's no, it's a support Mata on SKT.
Oh
I'm
shit!
pretty sure because they ran Mata. It was effort Mata. The one
Yeah.
they lost.
Well, we'll
and
come
Mata ran
back around.
Okay,
his-
never
but-
mind. Then I'm making
I was
shit
gonna
up
say,
for.
I feel like
it's
thought
okay.
I thought it was IG.
Maybe.
I
remember
watched
them
all of
me
these
too.
matches in the
Mata.
last 2 days,
Yeah.
so they bled together a little bit.
Right. So it actually, glad you had us think about the players, because honestly, Jackie Love performed really well too. I really, and we saw several teams do it, but I think IG did it the best. We saw Kaisa with the Kale on the team, and Kaisa ult in, like go
Kale
alt
all
Q, and then the Kale on her immediately.
Yep.
So it's like I've got my massive shield. The first couple things hit me. Now I'm invulnerable. Oh, also my Q just like destroyed everybody as I flew in. And then as soon as that lands, she like finishes people off, and the rest of the team's engaging. Like the minute they busted that out, and they did it so cleanly to just put the Kale on the whole team, I was like, oh shit, that is a dirty fucking engage. And then they did like another 3 times that
They're
game.
very good at it.
Yeah. So the way Jackie Love's playing with the team is so good right now, because he's usually at his weakest when he's trying to make that kind of play, and it's not a joint effort. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I think I can pick this up.
This Kale has changed from last year, though, right?
Yes.
So it's a really cool addition to see them work like that, given that they won the World Championship last year. And now they have a cool new meta for Jackie Love to basically dive into
Yeah.
and use
exactly.
that Kale role.
Yeah,
so it's
because
really
like
neat.
he did the
It's really
Kaisa
neat.
last year and was like getting blown up sometimes
Yeah.
because it's like
It's hit and miss with
like
Kaisa.
he was just going deep on his own, and now
Yeah.
with the Kale and the whole team's engaging with him, it's
Yeah.
like okay, they worked that out,
Mhm.
and it's so good to see.
I got Kev to fact check me. You were right. It was Mata. Said
Okay.
I don't really like.
It's only because I watched that today, and I
Ah.
wrote notes about that. I was like, because I knew the outcome of that match, right? Like I knew it.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, I was like, ooh, they're talking about Mata, and he feels comfortable, and like he did,
Ah,
he can
okay,
play it. And
okay.
I was like, ooh, that
I
sounds like
remember
Mata.
hearing it. I thought it was for IG.
Does Kev have the quote for you?
Yeah, he said I don't really like the Samsung white skin because I didn't perform well wearing it.
Oh, okay. Well, and that makes sense. Like, yeah, it's the
Okay, I'm
Thresh
gonna take
skin
this with it.
from Samsung White. Okay. All right.
Cheers, guys. We
yeah,
didn't get
cheers.
but- Cool, thanks.
The episode's not ending. Don't
No.
worry. All right. Last thoughts on IG Griffin?
They looked okay. Like I mean, they did really well getting up
IG
to.
or Griffin?
Sorry, Griffin.
Okay.
Griffin looked really good up until these games. They didn't look terrible, but
Yeah.
you definitely can tell that IG is of a higher caliber.
Yeah. I mean, for a group of players who had barely ever seen international play, like there's a couple players on that team I think had some experience
Tarzan.
internationally. Yeah.
I think Tarzan.
No, I don't think so.
And Chovy?
Chovy, I think so.
It's gotta
But
be
yeah,
one of
I
the
think
two.
there's a few international games under their belts as a whole. Like, it's not FPX where none of them had ever played internationally.
Mhm.
But for their first international showing, after choking so many times, they did well.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a matter of seeing what happens within their organization going forward.
It's nice to have seen them got this far, though.
Yeah. I mean,
Quarterfinal.
good showing for them for, World's rookies.
Took a game. None of these were sweeps, so any team that we
Right.
talk about.
Yeah.
Was it Griffin or was it a different team that has kind of imploded?
Griffin.
Okay, it was Griffin.
with all
It
the
is great. Yeah, I said so. Now we got to
Mhm.
see kind of what happens with their
Yeah.
organization. It seemed like recently the actual ownership of that organization got involved and said they'd be looking into things and dealing with it as necessary with Cho, the manager, and
Chovid.
the player who is on some terrible contract in China right now and all sorts of shit. So hopefully ownership actually comes through and does the necessary
That
things
was
with that.
the team, though, that I remember. Their owner was like, yo, take them out for steaks. I mean, whatever the equivalent was that they were going to eat. And they were like, take them out for steaks, feed them well, make sure they're comfortable.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but right before
Nice.
the quarterfinals happened. I remember that.
Yeah. Alright, so let's go to the next game,
Yes.
which was FPX and Fnatic, right? Right? It was Fun Plus Phoenix and
Yep.
Fnatic. So Fun Plus Phoenix being the number 1 seed from the LPL China, and Fnatic being the number 2 seed from EU, and coming out respectively 1 and 2 out of their groups, B and C. And Fnatic looked a bit disjointed to me. Like, they made their great day 2 run where they had gone 3-0 to get that number 2 seed, like beating
I
SKT in
know.
the process, and then they came into this and it just didn't look like they were firing on all cylinders by any means.
I think it's like the curse of the West. Like the West has looked pretty poor throughout this entire, the entire set of worlds. Like, I mean,
You're not wrong.
the West has been okay when they're playing against people that aren't of super high caliber.
Right.
But the second that these big boys come in, it's like we don't know what to do. Like we can pull a match here and there, but best of fives is where it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
And Griffin looked really good in all of those best of ones. IG didn't look as good in those best of ones, and that's kind of how it is with who ended up winning these. Fun Plus looked okay coming out of the free group.
Yeah, you're right. Because we talked about that. It was are they going to be able to turn it on? Because they did look kind of like they won, but they looked kind of okay. They looked better than their opponents, but not
Yes.
ridiculously
Better than
dominant.
their opponents, but not dominant.
And it was well, so how are they going to look when they actually play a good team? And I mean,
They showed up. They looked
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking Doinby was a monster on
Yes.
ice.
Oh, his
Yeah.
wife. I loved it. She had it the little doing B sign. She looked so happy there to support him, and she was hot. So. I mean, it was just a good thing all around.
Fnatic, you're right, they looked disjointed. Like, they didn't perform poorly, but when these teams that I personally expected to do well or expected to not do well went completely opposite of how things actually turned out.
Yeah.
Like, my pick'ems made me very sad.
How many did you get right in your pick'ems?
I got SKT and G2. I got wrong Invictus and Fun Plus.
Okay.
So I got the top half wrong, bottom half right.
Same.
Yeah, 2 and 2.
Same.
All right.
2 and 2.
So
Exactly what I went.
I mean, I think the big revelation this one was, like, Join B looked good in the group stage as well, but he looked really, like, disgusting. There were so many times where it's like, oh, and the fight is and oh my god, Join B is killing everyone!
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was another time where the caster's like, oh, well, this fight's over. It is not over. I am wrong. Holy shit, what just happened?
I really liked almost all of these matches. There were a lot of good team fights like that.
These were all the level 1 invades, right? That was Fun Plus?
Yeah, there was tons of level 1s in that game, or that series.
Yeah, because apparently Fnatic's known for being, like, the level 1 invader in Europe, is that correct?
I don't know.
Like, I heard the commenters talking about it, like, about how they're known for their, like, early invade to try to, like, screw over the enemy jungler.
Yeah, there was another comment they made that base races, like, don't try to base race against Fnatic because Fnatic as a organization has done that more than anyone.
I remember hearing that.
And that was the game they won, game 3, where, like, and granted, FunPlus was going to lose that game, but, like, Fnatic's pushing, and FunPlus was like, oh, let's try and, like, go up top and see if we can, bait them away. And Fnatic was like, fuck that, we can win this. And, like, they came back, although they did end up repelling Fnatic. Fnatic overstayed and extended the game, like, another 8 minutes or some shit, but still. I don't know, it's everywhere on Fnatic, I just feel like it wasn't coming. Whippo was getting wrecked so many times, where it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he looked good in the play-in stage, or the group stage, and he looked bad in the quarterfinals.
I was gonna make a joke. He can log out and change his name to Nuguri. Sorry, man. But you got hard
Nuguri can log out and change his name to No Goody. What up?
I mean, I don't think he's no goody, but he definitely got hard camped.
Yeah, he
so
did.
We'll get there.
So, coming out of Fnatic, we saw a Garen Yumi. For once for sure. I think we saw it twice, though, right?
I think so.
I
saw game 1 right away.
Yeah, saw it immediately and got shut down. And I feel like they tried it again in one of the other games.
Yeah.
I've seen it work for other teams. It definitely did not work for Fnatic.
The Garen Yumi is, like, Fnac's the team who did that. Like, they started
okay, so it worked for them in one of the earlier matches.
Well, it worked for them in the LEC. They're the team who brought down the LEC. They're the team who got Garen his first ever pro win. Like, I think it was that, or maybe G2 got that one. I don't know.
It's one of the teams, but
yeah, like, I think G2 might have gotten the win. But, like, yeah, Fnatic really, like, played well on that.
It's hard to play
in their region, and they did play in the group stage, and it failed for them there. But I do think they got a win off it maybe second week. I don't know. Like, they know how to play it, but I think when you go against a good enough team, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I saw Reckless get caught out a handful of times where he was like, "Oh, I'm a big old dumb stat stick. Like, like try killing me."
That is what Garen is.
Oh, you killed me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was one set where I think it was like a 2v4 where they came away alive.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, I was just like, why? Why would you do that?
So the problem is, if you play the Garen Yumi into a team that is good, and they realize where you're going during the draft, all they have to do is draft a way to flank or dive the backline. That's it. Because Garen offers no safety to your backline, Yumi is keeping him alive, and her ult is fucking directional, so if you fucking just don't have to run through the Garen, they're fucked.
I don't have it in front of me. I wonder if they ran like Nocturne and Kale and stuff.
They didn't run Nocturne.
There was no Nocturne.
Yeah.
I don't recall
Sorry,
Kale.
Yeah, I don't remember for sure, but yeah, it's just like, I mean, basically that's what we saw in the group stage, was like when Cloud9 struggled against it, it's because they didn't fucking draft any way to get past the Garen. So they were constantly like damage the shit out of Garen, and then he walks away, and he heals up, and then he comes back, like, and you're trying to fight front to back. You cannot fight front to back through a Garen Yuumi. But if you pick anything else, like a Kaisa with one dive buddy, guess what? Their backlane's fucking dead. Like, and then Garen get in. Also, like, if you just win that lane, which that's the big thing that we saw happen with Fun Plus here, is they just went and ganked early and often down there. Because he's not good until he has stats to be a stat stick. So if you bring 3-4 players bot often, he gets behind.
Garen
and
is really mushy in, like, pre-6.
Yeah.
If you're playing against.
Like, you know, unless he's going to max his damage reduction, which he doesn't want to, and that he wants the Q for, you know, being able to run in constantly and help the Yuumi Qs. And if you avoid the poke, like, if you hard engage that duo early and often, you've set him behind. And we saw Fun Plus do that. Which, I mean, kudos to them. They didn't look great in their group. Like, they looked better than their group, but their group looked garbage. Like, honestly. And it's like, yeah, Chase looked really good playing basketball last night. Oh, yeah, who is he playing against? The JV team. Wait, isn't he 30? Yes. Yes, he is.
The middle school JV team, not even like high school JV.
Yeah, you're just like fucking
You think you're
body checking kids,
or,
like,
or,
they're flying
or
20
the
guys.
kindergarten JV team.
There, that's what we should have gone with.
There we go. Like, Chase looked like an amazing wrestler. Granted, it was a bubble-wrapped midget versus Chase.
You just have to sit on him.
Yeah.
Boom. And then,
And then
slap
you can
him.
go up,
That's what they
you
did.
go up
Slap
and
him
down,
in the
and it makes
butt.
all the good popping noises.
Yeah.
Because
Slap
the
him
bubble
in-
wrap.
Slap him in the booty.
Oh, that would be awesome soundage ASMR.
But
Anyways, I'm happy to see Fun
Yeah.
Plus Phoenix because it's a team that I don't really know. I've known Invictus from last year, G2 obviously, SKT, even Splice I knew, Griffin. Oh, these names all I knew,
Yeah.
except for maybe
Fun
Dan
Plus was the one they showed. Literally none of their players had an international game prior to this tournament.
It's crazy that they're doing that. It's crazy. It's awesome. I'm glad to see them.
Yeah.
I hope. I don't care who wins that matchup, to be honest. I really don't. It's LPL either way.
Right, yeah. It's an LPL versus LPL because Fun Plus
I
is
think
facing
Invictus
IG.
is going to win it, though. I do think
It's going to be really interesting because, like, while there's that feeling again that we're not sure if Fun Plus actually beat somebody good.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Fnatic looked so underperforming in this scenario.
I agree.
But I think Fnatic's definitely going to take this one on the chin going home.
You mean Fun Plus?
No, Fnatic. They're going to take it on the chin.
Okay.
Like, they got roughed up.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna take something on the chin, but it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be Fun Plus's balls.
Got him.
Oh, I think it'll be a good series, though, because I think it'll challenge IG.
Yeah, no, I think
Because they are.
I think
They
both
looked
these
good.
teams will be challenged.
Yeah.
Like they both looked good in that in their matchups. I'm excited to see how it goes going forward. I think the really interesting dynamic here is we have Fun Plus who plays more of an aggressive early game, and IG who is rocking the team fights. I expect to see a lot of Rise bans
Oh, yeah?
and possibly a lot of Kale bans.
Yeah, I expect
And
that,
I expect
too.
to see Pantheon
Kale
continue
is-
to be permabanned.
I don't get that, but fuck it. We
His
don't even
rework,
talk
he's
about it.
pretty broken
No,
right
he's
now.
not. He fucking
So
ults
we're
in the
also
lane and
we're
you
like
kill him.
we're like 3 patches past it. Also, it's coordinated teams.
I guess.
Like your solo queue doesn't reflect the. 'Cause
Yeah.
How often do you actually
That's
see
fair,
a Kale
okay.
do well in solo
Fair,
queue?
Yeah, like,
Because
I get it.
yeah, if you don't actually
Ult
play
him
around the
Pantheon, if the
Kale.
Kale is there, just ult him too. I
Yeah,
guess,
probably.
So speaking of solo queue for just one hot second,
Yeah.
I thought that we were gonna see a bunch of Hecarim or something because I've seen a bunch of Hecarim or Hecarim bans in my matches, and every single time I've seen one has been a big dumb pony that I just slapped to death. Every single one that I've seen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess I'm going to see a whole bunch of Hecarim going into these matches this weekend. Not a single Hecarim. I was like, the hell are you doing, solo queue? Why are you banning and picking Hecarim?
Because we're
queue
2-3
bans.
patches past what Worlds is.
That's
Oh, that's-
Worlds is back on 19. We're on 22. I
Jesus, already?
think we're on 22.
Fuck,
Well, because
I haven't been paying
because
attention.
Worlds plays on the same patch the entire time. We get a new patch every 2 weeks.
Yes. Okay,
Alright,
wow.
then I guess I had not followed patch notes lately.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're right.
sorry for
I don't know
derailing
what
this.
changes there necessarily were to Hecarim that would have brought him out in solo queue. If anything, it could just be, a flavor of the week sort of thing.
Okay, so just dumb luck.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I'd have to go double check. I think Hecarim got a small buff. I just don't recall what it was.
Alright, I hope I keep seeing them because every single one of them has been a big dumb pony. They're like, I'm gonna run into you, and now I'm dead. I'm like, thank you for giving me your life.
I like Alan was trying to tell us what patch we're on, but he used the link for whatever reason instead of just typing it. So it says, we're on link deleted. Link deleted. Oh, no, 9.21. It thinks 9.21 is a link. Why does it think that's a link? I mean, like, there's a dot in the middle.
I don't know.
So we are on 21.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah, 22 is preseason. Okay.
the good matches. Well, they're all good, but
Yeah. Well, okay,
ones I wanna
final
talk about.
thoughts on Fun Plus Phoenix versus Fnatic.
My pick'ems are sad that Fun Plus won,
yep.
but
same.
Fun Plus looked so much better than Fnatic.
They deserved it.
So
Yeah.
Hands down.
I got that
I-
one right.
Good job. Fuck you.
I'm actually very interested to
I
see
enjoy
how
that.
they do going into IG. IG.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I want to lean into IG winning that one, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So, game 1 of the second day was SKT Splice.
Yep.
Okay. I can't remember which order it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
50-50.
SKT Splice. This is
I got
the
no-
one quarterfinal that people expected could go sweep, could
Yeah.
go 3-0,
Yes.
and it didn't.
It did not.
Splice did pick up a win to their credit, and you can't take that away from them. They made it out of their group, however easy it was after making it out of play-ins, however hard that was because Unicorns of Love put them on the fucking ropes. And they got a win off of SKT, who I said coming into quarterfinals looked like the best team in the tournament. Because they looked so fucking good in that group.
Were,
with,
were
RNG
all
and
of these
Fnatic.
games win 2, lose 1, win the 4th game?
No.
Okay.
Only one wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was the G2 match.
Yeah. The,
Okay.
G2 Damwon, the second game was the flop. Instead, the other ones were the third game was the flop.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, again, I want to give credit to all of these teams for not having a sweep taken against them. They
Yeah.
took one game, and they took it on the third game. Being down 2 at match point
On the
and
ropes.
taking the game, that's impressive. I have to give it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or maybe like SKT got overconfident, but I also think Sply took the game.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, Splice could have easily been 3-0'd in this. The game times were not close. Like, or they gave the impression of it not being close because they were all like 27 minutes-ish.
Yeah, the second game said quicker than the first game, and then game 3, Splice.
The,
They had to drag it out.
long one was Splice. It
Yeah.
took like 44
Yes.
minutes or something. Or no, maybe that was the other series. But it was the longer
longest
game.
one.
And that makes sense. And
Yeah.
it was a close game, but they won it decisively. They had
Yep.
a lead that they slowly controlled and grew and took care of that game in. The thought I have from the SKT Splice game, and granted this is the series that I was the least attentive to,
It's probably the one I was most
Faker?
attentive
did Faker look meh or did Humanoid look really good? Because Faker was rocking it in the group stage. He looked like Faker of old, he was destroying, he had a great KDA, and he was like negative or even KDA against Humanoid, not only in lane, but for the rest of those games, even though his team was winning, except for his Tristana game where he popped the fuck
Yeah.
off.
to. Agreed.
But it was interesting, like, when I see Faker play Ryze, especially when I'm seeing other Ryze players destroy opposing teams, whether it be doing B caps, whoever, Wonder even, when he was behind, he still, like, came and destroyed a fight, and we'll come around to that here in a bit. But Faker's Ryze felt, like, super unimpactful compared to everyone else who's been playing Ryze. In this series, anyway.
The fourth game
And it was
the,
so weird for
well, he
me.
wasn't on Rise then, but yes,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to say that maybe he's like, we're going into Splice, we're going to crush them regardless. Like, I don't have to, like, burn my mental so much in order to, like, take this series. Like, I'll save my mental and save it for next week going against whoever. Like, I assume they figured they were either going to go against G2 or Damwon. At that, they probably already knew who they were going to face if they won. So,
Yeah. I don't know.
This-
Like,
this-
I think
I have a hard
everybody-
time applying that to Faker. Like, I think a lot of players I could apply that to, but Faker's, he's been the unkillable Demon King. He is the Michael Jordan of League of Legends. Like, the dude is undisputed the best player that we've ever had, and has been since Season 3. Like, this is his 7th year of just, I am better than basically all of you. There are only now a few people who can even contest him. You can, like, talk about the Rookie and the Shy and such. But for the most part, it's like, it is Faker and it is everyone else. Like, now that there's a few people who are currently as good as him, it's like, great, now match his legacy as well as his current. Because, like, oh, they match him right now. It's like, dude's been playing the game for 7 years, or professionally for 7 years, and he's still in the conversation for the best player right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, I see the guy, not because, he's some just weirdo or some crazy freak or something, but, like, anybody who's that good, whether it be Michael Jordan or, like, a great soccer player, Cristiano Ronaldo, somebody like that, they're a machine, and that is all they think about, all they care about, and you don't take a fucking day off because mentally that's not the way you work. That's not the way you work. When you get on the stage and you start going, or you're on the field and start going, you're in that zone and you just fuck everyone in your way.
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably is the mental, and I don't know.
No, you could be right. I'm just saying I have a hard time seeing him that way.
No. Like, I see where you're coming
with him
from as well. Like, I mean, it is hard to turn it off. Like, I mean, it's really hard for me to throw Smash games. Like, it's hard for me to throw games. Like, even ones
you do it so well all the time. We know you're better than Sean and
I throw games if I lose.
everyone. Just in case Sean sees this.
Chase
has always been throwing.
No, not true.
I know what you're saying, though. Yes.
Like, I mean, there are times where I like tried to play against someone and be like, oh, I didn't do so well.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, fuck you, I can't do that.
It's really hard to be worse than you are.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm okay with...
I beg to differ.
I'm okay with not being the best, but, like, it's really hard for me to turn it off.
Yeah, I get you, because I don't log out of games. But, I mean, there's sometimes where I just tilt mentally and run it down, and I kind of get that. But I won't turn the game off, and I hate people that do quit, because it's such a disadvantage when there are times you can fucking come back. Like, there are times.
Yeah.
And we've all had that, but we're not talking about solo queue. We're talking about this. As he said, I don't know that Faker put the most mental into the game. It's so weird to say. It's not like a sentence that's normally accurate.
Most mental effort.
Yeah. But because from my notes, the games were more centered around Clid and bot lane or top lane for Khan.
I feel like you guys have to be right, because it feels wrong to me that, like, Faker just looked meh out of nowhere, or Humanoid looked
against
good.
Anyone. Faker can hold his
But
lane,
he only kind of did. That's why I'm like so fucking
he had no help. Like, if Clid was top lane ganking the entire time, or he was focused on bot lane with cocooning anyone, because he cocooned like 90% of his cocoon.
Well, and if he's like,
ridiculous.
if he's somebody else, I'm like, oh man, he didn't get to have any help. But he's fucking Faker, so I'm like, you don't need no fucking help.
I kind of get that.
He's like, I am the help, bitch.
He is the help. But it's a team game, and if all he needs is to really kind of hang on while the other lanes get fed, and he's just fakering it up, he doesn't have to put that
What
much
do you think
energy
of the idea, and I know, Chase, you love your conspiracy theories, and it's not conspiracy theory level, but not that he checked out, but the team decided, hey, let's try a non-Faker style play, because we're going to win anyway. So it was like the combination we were focusing on other lanes, and you're thinking of, we're going to win anyway. So they're like, let's see what we can do when we don't focus on Faker. And like,
still win.
I think they found out, like, we can win, but it's probably closer than we'd like it to be, and so we'll see them focus on Faker again heading into next week.
I like that. I can go with that. That seems feasible.
I think your two ideas together are way better than me, where I'm just like, it doesn't make sense.
I can't think that Humanoid is that good to call him a.
I was just like, none of this makes sense. The world is upside down. And then you two said something, I'm like, wait a minute.
Mid game as a solo lane is a completely different game without ganks.
Yeah.
It is.
It
doesn't matter who you're up against. It could go either way.
I have been hard camped in mid. And like avoided all the ganks. I'm like, yo, if you throw a counter gank, like we double kill these mofos.
Yeah.
And like, no, I'm gonna keep feeding bot lane. And by feeding bot lane, I mean feeding their bot lane. It's like our bot lane's behind. Leave it alone. It's a lost cause. You're down 2 levels.
Remember that.
I'm going back down there.
For next week, after we come back and have seen them in the semifinals and then the finals, whether or not
see how they play around Faker.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be really interesting to see. Last thoughts on SKT Splice. My last one is just congrats to Splice for making as far as you did. When you really weren't even expected to be the team from EU to make that 3rd slot, you made it. You got out of the play-ins, made it out of groups, and you pulled game off of SKT. So, well done there, and good luck to them next season.
Oh yeah, like some of the games were a little bit close. Like the first one was but I didn't expect Splice to even take a game. So good job to them. Go back to your region and dominate there.
Anything for you?
I've said everything I have to say. I hope that SKT turns it back on next week. G2 probably isn't going to be much of a game that they need to roll over on. I think they're going to need to be present for that one. So.
All right.
I cannot wait for that series. That's the only thing I want to say. Sorry.
Yeah, well, let's head into, I think, the quarterfinal that we all enjoyed the most. I mean, granted, it is the one Western team who moved on, but I think it was also just a really entertaining series. I think
It was.
IG Griffin was pretty entertaining, and this one was pretty entertaining. Damwon being the number 1 seed, number 3 seed from Korea, number 1 coming out of Group D, and G2 being the number 1 seed out of the LEC, number 2 out of Group A, and G2 took this 3-1. This is the only one where game 2 was the flipped rather than game 3. But I think G2 and Damwon both impressed me in different ways. G2's early game, every game, was so good.
Yeah.
And then they would falter in the mid game, but Damwon impressed me with how it took advantage of those falters. Like, they weren't big windows, and Damwon seized upon them and took advantage of them.
Yeah.
It was just that they were already so far behind that it brought them level generally, and then G2 still ended up getting it done.
G2 had first blood all 4 games. So.
Yeah. G2's early game was so gross. Most of those games. Like, it was... They had 4 kills at 6 minutes one time or some shit like that? That was game 3, I think. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't, like, off of a fight. It was, we had a fight and got one, and then we went top and got another, and then we went back top and got another, and we picked one up in the jungle somewhere along the line. It's like, what the fuck?
That was game 4, but
yeah, like... How does that ever, usually it's like, oh man, it's 4-0 at 6 minutes. It's because, it was a jungle, fight at level 1, and, you pick up 3, and then you get, 1 more. No, they just got it all over, much of it in top lane, but they got it all over the place, just fast.
They talked about it, though, in that specific game, being 4-0. It was the Caps roaming. 50% of the game, he had
So
been
gross.
in the mid lane, and 50% of the game, he was out roaming.
Yeah, his Yasuo pushed in the mid lane, and then showed up top, and, they were pulling off some audacious shit, where it was, hey, well, we saw it right away, that first roam, which decided that lane, because Wonder got a really good freeze, and then he had he built up the wave. It was like a double, triple fucking wave, pushing up, and both Caps and Yankos show up, and so they see Yankos, and they're like, okay.
And Wonder just stayed at the turret.
Yeah, they're playing kind of safe, and then Caps shows up in the gap, and it's like, fuck my, and Naguri's just like, fuck my life.
Yeah. What do you do?
I have to back all the fucking way off, and then he does eventually get allowed to come back to the lane, but at that point he's already lost a wave and a half of minions.
And don't they gank him and kill him anyways?
They came back, 4 seconds later and kill him, and then they do it again later. It's just
These were good.
at that point he went from, and they mentioned it on the cast, it went from even CS 20-20 to 40-20.
Yeah. I remember that.
What the fuck do you do in that? I've been in that situation.
I tilt.
Where it's
That's
just
what I do. I fucking tilt.
Where I constantly have the jungler coming up. I'm having to pull off my wave, and I'm pinging an assist because my jungler's taken topside near me, and he just doesn't want to show the fuck up. And then I'm behind in lane. I'm like, you cock. Was killing the last 2 little Krugs that important, or more so than ever having your top lane be involved in the game again? You dick.
Yeah. So being a jungler, I just need to pipe up a little bit. The only thing that sucks is when your laner is pushed in and then pings for you to help.
Yes.
They're like,
hey, dive this guy.
Help, assist me. I'm like, dude, you're under their turret.
Yeah, no, this is the opposite.
Yes.
When they're under their own turret and they're like, help me, put some pressure in the lane to get me out of here.
But your bot lane taking fucking.
Oh yeah, when you're on the other side of the
raptors,
map, it's like, dude, what are you pinging for? I hope you're pinging the mid laner because they've pushed it. I've done that where I've been mid lane pushing, and I see the pings from top. I'm like, the jungler's nowhere near. I'm roaming up. I'm gonna show up, go hi, and then walk right back to my lane.
Wave game so well that match or that game.
They were
I know we
gross.
kind of skipped just the game forward just to talk about that.
Well, and Perks was really good all over the place. Caps in that game 4 was disgusting. I think Perks overall played very well. His Zaya is super scary right now. Yankos played pretty well.
It was Gragas, and it paired well with the Yasuo. That's really all.
Yeah.
Because he threw that barrel out onto frickin' Nuguri twice.
It was so funny to see game 3 where Damwon tried the Gragas Yasuo bot lane,
but it was
and got
bot
wrecked.
Lane is different. Yeah, it's
right. Because so you do the count anytime you don't have a standard support marksman bot lane. Really, the general rule of thumb is dive it hard.
Gank that hard, right?
Rank 3 and 4 early and often, And they did. And they destroyed that Yasuo, and Yasuo never got involved in the game. Same with Gragas, basically. And then when they go, hey, look what happens if you put it mid and jungle, and then take it to another lane,
Yes.
and they were going 3v1 all the fucking time, and like, yeah, Yasuo and Gragas got fed as shit. Well, because it was 4-0, and 3 or 4 of them were all on Yankos.
It was 2 and 2. Oh, you mean the kills? Yes,
Yeah.
towards Yankos. It was Nuguri died twice and the mid died
Did Yankos
twice.
have all 4? No, he only had 2 because the one
No,
mid
he
went
was
over
like
to.
3 and 1 at one point.
Yeah, but I think he was 301 off those first 4 kills
Yeah.
because he was on a killing spree already
Um,
at 6 minutes.
What was I gonna say? I can't remember. Fuck, I just had it too. Oh, we skipped like for this series for G2 versus Damwon. We kind of skipped just to Game 4 to talk about it, and
Oh.
it's very important because that game decided everything.
Right.
And I want to definitely talk about, just real briefly, because it's worth mentioning once, their draft. They picked the Ornn before G2
Oh,
on blue side picked the Grasuo combo. And Grasuo was on the table, and Yasuo, he denied the Ornn ult
Yep.
multiple times.
There's
in
a
that
huge
game.
one late in that
It's
game.
really,
Yes.
really funny watching the Ornal just go right through, and I'm like, oh, that's not how that's supposed to go at all.
No.
It's funny because
Feels sad, man.
we used to see it with Braum a whole bunch, and then Braum fell out of the meta. Because it was like Braum Lucian bot lane was huge, so you'd hear the "Brr," and then Braum would just go, okay, we can all fight, go! Like,
yeah.
He'd be
I
facing
got my
the
shield
wrong
up, guys.
way because he had just blocked it like on spawn.
Yes.
But yeah, we saw it with Yasuo, although it seemed a lot of times he was waiting, like the ram would run through, and then he would throw the wall, so when it came back,
Well,
it was
that's smarter in my opinion. Because I mean,
well, there's the other CC, like, because if you have the, what was it, not cripple, or is it cripple, whatever it's called.
the little thing that
The
pops up.
swirly above
Yeah.
your head, which extends other CCs.
Oh,
So if
okay,
you get it
yeah.
on the first side, but with Yasuo, you do want to do it the other way since it is, all projectiles.
Mhm.
So because if you throw it the other way, well, Kale's still going to engage. So
Yeah.
it's throw it that way and deny everything. I agree there. It's against that comp and such.
But he did it so well that
It looked
was
dirty.
almost like Caps was like, "This is how you play Yasuo.
Yeah.
Here you go. Take that with you." I want to give a shout out to Damwon though because I heard the casters mention it throughout their groups and even maybe like I think a couple times for this series. They were challenger or whatever group it is,
Okay.
and straight into being a team or whatever it was.
Oh yeah. So
I don't
yeah,
know how it
they
works.
came from like they got promoted
Mhm.
into the LCK just this year.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they made it to World out of groups.
Yep.
And they
Yeah.
took a game off of G2. That's
Damwon
impressive.
was the team last year. There's 2 teams that Worlds teams were scrimming last year.
Mhm.
So like when it got to like quarterfinals, semifinals, that the teams were scrimming 2 Korean teams. It was Damwon and I don't remember who the other one was, and saying these teams. It was 2 new teams who had just made it in, and they're like these teams are really good. Specifically Damwon, they are beating us 80% of the time in scrims. Like teams
Well,
were getting
kudos to
wrecked by
them.
them last year, and like. There's something to be said for, well, they're at home, they're not playing as many games as you because they don't have like the stress on them,
The
whatever.
schedule and everything.
Yeah, like they're literally just playing in the off season,
Yeah.
and they didn't play a long season. They finished up their promo where they got in like 3 weeks ago, so they're just chilling
Yeah.
by comparison. But yeah, like for them to
Good job.
live up to that hype from last year when they weren't even in the league to now, not a lot of teams actually do that. It's like, oh, there's all this hype, and then they fizzle the fuck out. So, good on them. I think, honestly, the team they lost to is the other one that had all the fucking hype. It was like, hey, G2 grabbed the best bot laner, or best mid laner in Europe, moved their second best mid laner in Europe to the bot lane.
That was a smart move.
And they came in going crazy, they're like going to be crazy, and here they are. They're in the fucking semifinals after winning MSI, like, 2 teams lived up to the hype and met in the quarterfinals. It was a good series.
It was.
I think this was probably the closest series.
I'll say that except for Game 4.
Yes.
Like, it feels like Game 4 almost for all the teams were just like we're done with this. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
done with this.
Game
We're not
4s
gonna
were
do
the
Game 5.
biggest stomps for basically
Yeah.
everyone. Alright, so let's head into quick semifinal thoughts. IG Fun plus Phoenix, we have the all-Chinese semifinal there. I think, personally, IG has looked more consistent to me overall. They have, the pedigree, of course, and the fact that the Shy and Rookie have just looked as insane as they have is really promising, but at the same time, they were the number 3 seed, and FunPlus was the number 1 seed out of the same region, so we know FunPlus can win that.
Yes.
I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Do you specifically know what their head-to-head was?
FunPlus's was better, but I don't know what the exact is.
Just wondering. Cool.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it's just going to come down to a little bit read on the meta and who has the better feel for it. I think if Rookie and the Shy played the way they did in the quarterfinal, IG takes this though. Yeah. Like they were just so stupid good in team fights. So that's my bet right now. You said you're IG as well?
Yeah.
I'm leaning into IG as well.
It's hard.
It is.
I mean, FunPlus, like, they've already broken my upper bracket.
Yeah.
And, like, they did so very convincingly. So, like,
FunPlus and IG both.
Yeah. Exactly. So, it's like, I can't say anything bad about either one of them. But going off of how things went, like, IG just looks gross. Like if they can 5-man deathball this thing like they did this last set, I think they're going to be pretty solid.
Yeah. I'm thinking it'll go 3-2 though. I really do think we'll have a
I don't think we'll see a sweep here. I guess my other thought, kind of like you said, I feel Griffin looked better than Fnatic did, and it's not. I mean, not that Fnatic looked as close to FunPlus as Griffin looked to IG, but I just think having harder competition under your belt always better prepares you for the next round. So, then let's jump over to G2 SKT. Oh, also fun note here, the remaining teams in this competition are the 1 seeds of the 3, highest rated regions, Korea, China, EU, and the defending world champion. Those are our 4 teams right now. 3 1 seeds and defending world champion.
That's awesome. Like, that speaks to the caliber of these teams. And
like, they earned it and they stayed. Because so often we see a lot of the 1 seeds drop out at this point. But, like, they're all here. Yeah. They're all here, and they honestly, like, I feel like any one of these 4 teams could win Worlds, and I wouldn't be shocked. Whereas a lot of times we head into the semifinal, and it's like, okay, if they won, that, like, last year, honestly, any of those teams, I was going to be surprised a bit, just because we got to the point where it's Fnatic, Cloud9, IG, G2. And I think Fnatic and IG were the ones I would have been least surprised about. But, like, had G2 or Cloud9 won, I would have been like, whew, really? Yeah. Damn. Right now, I'm like, G2 wins?
G2's so
okay, I get it. SKT wins? Yep, totally get it. IG wins? Yep, get it. FPX? All right. Like, I guess I'd be most surprised at FPX, just because...
A little bit.
Because they're international rookies.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it.
But even if they did, that's going to set the bar pretty high for other teams. Like, we just came into this and won.
Well, and at that point, China's definitely the dominant region, because not only have they won back-to-back, but they had 2 different teams win back-to-back. So it's not like, it's just like, SKT's the only Korean team, which other Korean teams won. But, you can't be like, it's just IG, and then China's pretty good beside that. It's like, nope, China's better than everybody apparently right now. But... So, back to G2 SKT. This one's good. I think this is going to be a hell of a fun match to watch.
I hope it goes 5 games. I really do. And I have SKT to win because I knew it was going to come down to this. I think we all had SKT and G2 as our final picks there.
I had SKT getting through G2.
It kind of sucks that it comes down to this because I would have really liked an SKT G2 finals. Like, that would have been really cool to see.
Or SKT IG would be hyped too. Or, I'm sorry, G2 IG will be hyped too. Yeah. Because it'll be like MSI versus World Champ.
But I think SKT will take it. And I'm basing that off the way SKT played versus their matchup and the way G2 played versus their matchup. SKT looked more dominant. And if... Again, you did make the mention of it was versus Splice.
Yeah, you come back to... It's almost like the FPX Fnatic thing where it's like, well, yeah, but their opponent... I mean, like, Splice pulled a game off of them. And, like...
But a game that took a long time.
Yeah, and Faker didn't look great. But from what you two said, it's like, well, were they just trying out other shit? Because they looked crazy dominant in Group C. So, I don't know. Like, G2, I think it's going to come down to if G2 makes mistakes in the mid game.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll still play aggressive enough early
if we're right and SKT turns it on again,
it's SKT.
100%. Yeah. If we're wrong... I'm thinking G2.
Yeah, they have a chance, though. They have a chance to win.
I think not so. Even if you're wrong and like, SKT was just faltering against Splice, that still requires G2 to not make the mistakes they made against Damwon in the mid games. Because they played great early games, they got those leads, but SKT is going to damage you even more than Damwon did. They were number 1 coming out of their region for a fucking reason, as opposed to number 3. So if you make those mistakes against SKT, they're not going to catch up a bit, they're going to catch up all the way, or they are going to pass you, and then they're going to force you into mistakes.
Yeah.
I also feel like this
It's gonna be a hell of a
matchup
series.
has the biggest potential to turn claps into craps because of the matchup.
Yes, that is
It's
very possible.
Again, it's a really cool game matchup to see for a best of 5 series, and I'm very excited to watch
My
it.
favorite part about all of this is that there's only possible of 10 matches.
Yes.
Only 10.
Guys, this is our third
It's
last episode
very
of
down.
the season, too.
Yeah.
We're right there.
2 more?
Getting
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. All right,
Cool.
so
I'm
I think
excited.
semifinals are just gonna be awesome. I'm gonna go with gut feeling is IGSKT, but I really do feel like we could see the exact opposite or any other mix coming into finals.
It could come down to FPX versus G2 for all we know. And
Exactly.
We really don't, yeah.
So here's hoping that G2 makes it through. I'd like to see a Western team in the final again.
No, my pick'ems were already fucked. I don't need them to be fucked
I know,
more.
right? Like,
Hey,
I don't want to lose
To
this.
be fair, most of us have SKT
Yeah,
winning
we
it
do.
all,
So
and
it
the other
doesn't
side of the
change
bracket wrong
anything,
already.
Yeah.
So we'll all be equally wrong with you.
Has EU won a Worlds before?
No. Well, yes and no. So
Season 1 or 2.
season 1 champion, and it wasn't Worlds then. It was just the championship.
Yeah.
Was Fnatic.
Okay.
So that's why you do have like Fnatic, Janna, Jarvan, etc.
Yes,
skins.
that's right. Yes, thank you. I remember.
Season 2 was Taipei Assassins. Yeah, grab me one.
I was trying to see which one that
Oh.
was.
Light blue.
Do you want an IPA or do you want
Grab the light blue.
light
Season 2 though was Taipei Assassins, which was the OPL, which is the LMS one that's coming back.
Cool.
The LMS combined league kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's Taipei Assassins, and then it was Korea for the first Worlds as we know it, Season 3. So
That was SKT.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all 5 of those were Korean champions. 18 Chinese champion,
Yes.
and now we're back.
Okay, all right, exciting.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, if G2 can do it, good, kudos to them, and I'm sure they'd be very happy. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I mean, it'd be really cool to see them in the final, and like if they can get it done, it throws things on their head in general a little bit because, especially if they even if they win this, the Korean dominance of League is definitely over. Like it's mostly like put to bed right now, just because the Koreans went out in the quarterfinals last year. They went out in the groups in quarterfinals. They were done by quarterfinals. Right now, there's one left in the semifinal. So if they don't even make the finals, let alone just not, or if they don't win it all, let alone just not even make the final, then at that point you can no longer be like, all right, it's Koreans and everyone else. It is now, if that were to happen, to be like, okay, it's Korea and China may be even with China's slight leg up, or if G2 wins it all, then it's like, all right, it's Korea, Europe, and China all together.
We just say it's the Asian countries versus the world, because that's basically
no,
what
because
it
the
is.
Asian countries includes LMS, and they're garbage.
Okay, well, it's not. It's the good Asians
So is America,
versus
so-
the world.
Okay,
So
let's not
we-
call the Chinese good
It's
Asians.
Asians, and they have their handicap,
Shit.
and EU has
Good
their
at
handicap,
video
which is
game
an A.
Asians.
Good at video game Asians. There you go.
Um,
But the Japanese are still terrible.
Damn it. Okay, the Japanese are good at making video games.
There you go.
Boom.
They're good at fighting games.
I guess that's true.
I don't like fighting games, so I'm biased.
All right. Until the League of Legends fighting game comes out, and then she just wants to play Ari all day.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, is it not random based, like team?
No,
whatever
they're
fucking
making
tactic?
like a Street Fighter League of
Yeah.
Legends game.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely down. I'm playing Ari on that shit.
Yeah,
Heart, bitch.
the clip they showed was Ari and Darius. facing
Oh, I
each other.
missed it. I haven't
I'll
seen
show
this.
you it
You'll
here
have
after
to
the
link it to me.
episode.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So
I haven't seen this.
I think
yet.
Ari
that-
goes Hadouken.
Yeah, I think it does it for us here. The season's finishing out soon, guys, so get all
Very
your solo
exciting.
queue games in, and we'll see you next Monday. The next 2 episodes going to be on Monday, and we'll close out the season, so we'll see
Cool.
you Monday for our second last episode of Vloggers this
I
season.
just drank, but okay. I need more water anyway.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Hydrate, bitches.